Question actually for everyone but Angel. How would you guys describe, no offense, how would you guys describe what it was like playing against her the last 2 years?
Now this is the setup right here. How would you guys describe playing against her the last couple of years? Folks, I mean, let's just use a certain somebody as an example. It's really tough. Not only can she beat you off the dribble, but she pulls up.
Watch that setup carefully. The reporter just asked Angel Reese's new teammates what it was like playing against her the last few years. This is supposed to be the softball question at an introductory press conference. You know the drill. New teammates gas each other up, talk about how tough the competition was, how excited in mind.
I always have to be ready on the defensive end. As soon as she crosses half court, she's a threat. Her passes, so it's not just her scoring ability, it's her passing ability too that I need to worry about. As soon as I think that I have an angle cut off or a lane cut off, nope, Kaylin Clark, she manages to get that pass through. I've never seen anything like it before. And then she's one of the best rebounding guards in the league. Her defense is underrated. I'm extremely glad she's on our team. Now I can get all those passes from her. Now the defense is going to be double teaming her, and every game plan is going to be focused on stopping that player. So I'm going to be getting a lot of open buckets. I'm just using that as an example. Right? So the setup is you can set this question up many different ways.
That pause right there tells you everything. Ryan Howard just said she averaged 30 points against the Chicago Sky last season, not against Angel Reese specifically. I missed, against that entire team. She dropped 36 in one game, 22 in another. Alisha Gray is nodding along, because she knows exactly what's coming next. Her career high came against Angel's team, her most efficient shooting night. Also against Chicago. The reporter set up a question about Angel's dominance, her physicality, her rebounding prowess. Instead, they're talking about how easy those games were, how they had their best offensive performances when Angel was on the floor. That's not shade, that's a floodlight.
Hey, don't shoot the messenger.
Angel's annoying as hell to play against, so it's weird that she's on this side. We've obviously had our fair share of battles. But what I'm really excited about is, her competitiveness. Like on the court, when you're going against her, like you have to make sure that it's on for every night. But like she taught cash money, so you got to make sure you're on. So being able to go against that in practice and see that and it be on your side, like it's funny. So you want me to tell him? Go ahead.
Damn, you want me to tell him? Alisha Gray is a little troll, I see. Alisha.
Look at Angel's face during that exchange. She's trying to laugh it off, but that smile doesn't reach her eyes. She came to this press conference dressed like she's attending an awards gala. The entire media contingent that playing against her Chicago squad was easy money. Alisha Gray's comment is particularly brutal. She said her worst game against the Sky was 15 points. Think about what that means. On her absolute worst night facing Angel Reese's defense, she still put up 15. Most nights, she was cooking. And she's saying this with Angel sitting right there, 3 feet away.
Damn.
I text Angel, and I was like, I ain't gonna lie, last year, I love playing against Chicago because I had my best game. But no, playing against...
Damn, your old team on shit. Damn, your old team wasn't shit. I'd eat that team for breakfast. That's what they're saying. I'm not saying it. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. You would think, right? If this was a certain somebody else, you'd be like, man, with her on the court, they're always a threat. Always a threat. I never feel comfortable going up against that team because they're always a threat, especially with that person on the court. And if she's not getting off offensively, she's making sure other people around her are getting off. Man, it was a pain in the ass playing against that team, especially with that player on it. But no, this is hey, even with you on the floor, to be honest with you.
Here's what makes this moment so significant. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Angel Reese just got traded from Chicago to Atlanta in a deal that shocked the league. She's coming off a season where she set the WNBA single-season rebounding record as a rookie. Those are elite numbers by any measure. But here's the problem with being a rebounding specialist who doesn't score efficiently. When your teammates are asked about playing against you, they don't talk about your offensive threat. They don't mention having to game plan around your scoring ability. They talk them, they're bragging about what they did to her team. And that distinction matters, because in basketball, respect comes from being a complete threat. If you're only dominant in one area, opposing players remember the areas where they exploited you.
Even with you, I mean, this was easy money. Damn, you hate to see it.
Playing against Angel, I always be like, dang, like, how'd she grab all the rebounds? And then, like, when we be at the free throw line, like, I'll be like, I'm not even, like, going in, like, you got 3 rebounds, because she's just so, like, strong. So it's just like, me being a guard, I'm not finna battle with a post for a rebound. So, I mean, it's very...
What was Brianna Jones' answer? We don't have that in this clip. What was Brianna Jones saying? Hey, Brianna Jones, what was it like you going up against Angel Reese? Oh, it was easy. It was easy. She went by me, and I just said, oh, she's going to miss this layup anyway. Stoink! Rebound. We out.
Brianna Jones jumps in here trying to salvage the situation, but even her comment has an edge to it. She talks about Angel being strong, about not being able to body her for rebounds. That sounds like a compliment, until you realize what she's not saying. She's not talking about Angel's offensive moves, her footwork, her shooting touch. She's talking about getting out-muscled for boards. Then she pivots to defense and says she's not even trying to contest Angel around the rim because she knows it's going to be a block party. Wait, is that a compliment or an insult? She's essentially saying Angel's shot is so predictable that she can just wait for the miss and grab the free throw. That's not respect for someone's offensive game, that's a scouting report. The dynamics at this press conference reveal something deeper about how WNBA players actually view each other versus how they're supposed to talk publicly. There's an unwritten rule in professional sports: you build up your new teammates, especially at introductory events. It's good for team chemistry, good for public relations, good for the organization's image. Ryan Howard and Alisha Gray just torched that playbook. And the question is, why? These are veteran players who've been through dozens of press conferences. They know how this game works. So, either they genuinely don't respect Angel's game enough to fake it, or they're sending a message. Maybe both. Look at the context here. Atlanta Dream just acquired Angel Reese in a trade that sent significant assets back to Chicago. The franchise is betting that her rebounding and energy will transform their front court. They're marketing her as a cornerstone piece. And at the very first press conference, her new teammates are basically saying the Chicago Sky were a free win on the schedule. That's not an accident, that's a statement. Here's what the statistics actually show. In 3 games against the Las Vegas Aces last season, Ryan Howard's team, Angel Reese averaged 9.7 points and 11.3 rebounds. Her shooting percentage in those matchups was 38% from the field. The Sky went 0-3 in those games, losing by an average margin of 14 points. Against Alisha Gray's squad? Similar story. Angel grabbed double-digit rebounds in both meetings but shot under 40%, the Sky lost both games. So when Howard and Gray talk about having their best games against Chicago, they're not exaggerating. The tape backs them up. But here's where it gets complicated. Angel's individual rebounding numbers in those games were still elite. She was doing her job on the glass. The problem was everything else. Chicago's offense stalled out, their defense couldn't stop penetration, the spacing was wrong, the rotations were inconsistent. Angel was grabbing 13 boards a game while her team was getting blown out. So, are Howard and Gray roasting Angel specifically, or are they roasting the entire Chicago Sky organization? The answer is probably both, because in basketball, individual stats don't matter if you're losing by double digits. Nobody fears a player who puts up numbers in losses. Think about how different this moment would play out if we were talking about a different player. Imagine if Breanna Stewart got traded, and her new teammates were asked about playing against her. The answers would be immediate: she's impossible to guard. She can score from anywhere. She makes everyone around her better. We hated seeing her on the schedule. Or if Aya Wilson switched teams, most dominant post player in the league. Changes the entire game on both ends. You have to send double teams, or she'll drop 30 on you. That's the kind of response that franchise players get. That's the kind of respect that transcends team loyalty. But Angel Reese? She gets, yeah, I dropped 36 on them, and my worst game was 15 points. The gap between how Angel is marketed and how players actually view her game is massive. And this press conference just exposed it in real time. She's being sold as a transformative talent, a generational rebounder, a player who changes franchises. But her peers are talking about her like she's a role player on a bad team. Now, let's talk about what this means for Atlanta's locker room dynamics going forward. Chemistry matters in basketball. Trust matters. Mutual respect matters. And right now, in the first public appearance together, we're already seeing cracks. Angel Reese is coming into this situation as the big acquisition. She's getting the attention, the marketing push, the spotlight. Meanwhile, Ryan Howard and Alisha Gray are established veterans who've been grinding in this league for years. They've made all-star teams, they've been in playoff battles, they've earned their stripes. And now they're being asked to defer to someone whose teams they've been torching for 2 seasons. Someone who's famous for rebounding her own misses rather than making shots in the first place. Someone whose defensive reputation is built more on social media highlights than actual defensive metrics. That creates tension. Maybe not immediately, maybe not publicly, but it's there. You can hear it in how they answered that question. You can see it in Angel's reaction. This isn't a group that's already bonded, this is a group that's being forced together by front office decisions, and they're all still figuring out the pecking order. The comments section on this clip is absolutely ruthless. Fans are picking up on the same dynamics we're breaking down here. One comment says, they were actually cooking her guards indirectly. She wasn't guarding Ryan. Someone else was. That's a valid point. Angel's not a perimeter defender. When Howard was dropping 36, that wasn't on Angel, that was on Chicago's guard defense breaking down. But here's the thing, basketball is a team sport. When your team is getting cooked, you share the blame, especially if you're being marketed as a franchise cornerstone. If you're really that dominant, your team shouldn't be losing by 15 every time you play a contender. Another comment nails it, just because you rebound your own misses at a high rate doesn't mean you're a defensive stopper. That's the core issue. Angel's rebounding numbers are inflated by offensive rebounds off her own missed shots. She shot 44% from the field as a rookie. That means she's missing more than half her attempts. And yes, she's elite at getting those rebounds back. But that's not the same as efficient offense. Compare that to someone like Aya Wilson, who shoots 52% from the field and still grabs 10 rebounds a game. Or Breanna Stewart, who shoots 46% on much higher difficulty shots. Those players aren't padding their rebounding stats by missing layups and grabbing their own misses. Here's what Angel Reese needs to understand about this moment: this is actually a gift. Not a comfortable gift, not a pleasant gift, but a gift nonetheless. Because right now, before the season starts, she knows exactly where she stands with her teammates. There's no fake politeness, no passive-aggressive comments months down the line. Ryan Howard and Alisha Gray just told her straight up, "We don't fear your game." Now, she has a choice. She can take that personally, let it create division, turn this into a toxic locker room situation. Or she can use it as motivation, prove them wrong, show them that the Chicago Sky's failures weren't about her individual game, demonstrate that with better spacing, better coaching, better teammates, she can be more than just a rebounding specialist. The question is whether she has that kind of self-awareness. Because everything we've seen from Angel Reese on social media suggests she's not great at handling criticism. She claps back at fans, she blocks people who question her game, she surrounds herself with yes men who tell her she's perfect. That's not the mentality that leads to growth. If she walks into Atlanta's training camp with that same energy, this is going to be a disaster. You can't demand respect from veterans who've already beaten you, you have to earn it. And earning it means accepting hard truths about your game and working to improve them. Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture here.